welcome to the walkthrough for exercise 10I. So what I've done here is I've tried to break it down as much as possible. When you're looking at any of these composite shapes, the first thing you want to do is to break it down into any easy shapes to understand. So the first one I've got here, I can see a triangle and a rectangle. So I'm going to add those two together. This next one, I've got a rectangle and I have a triangle, and I've actually added in that dotted line because I want to separate them into familiar shapes. Okay, so this one is more about process. So first thing, put down your formula, write down your formulas for each of the shapes. So I've got my triangle here. Okay, and I need to know what my base and my height is. So my base is the same as this, so it'll be 40, and then my height is 10. So I can then substitute it in over here. So I've got half multiplied by my base of 40 multiplied by 10. So whatever your answer is for here. So this answer, we'll get to that one in a second. And then you have here also your rectangle, which is 40 multiplied by 10. So again, let's put that in there. So 40 multiplied by 10. So whatever that answer is will be in millimeters as well. Then you add those two together. So this one here goes here. And this one over here will go here. So once you have finished that, you then write your answer, and your answer for this one will be in millimeters squared. Next one, again, rectangle and a triangle. See where you can break it up into familiar shapes, and then if there's any numbers that are for a full length, have a look at the other side and see if you can break it down. So what I've done, I had 5 there, which means I have 5 here, and I have 4 over here. I have 3 here, which means I also have 3 here, so I can actually annotate my diagram to say that we've got my 3 meters here. Now it makes a lot of my calculations a lot easier too. So for this next one, again, I have my rectangle that I'm starting with, so it's 5 multiplied by 3, so I can substitute that in. 5 multiplied by 3, which gives me 15, and I can write that into my next line. So next one I've got is my triangle here, so half multiplied by my base of 4 multiplied by my height of 3. So again, substitute it in, so half multiplied by my base, which was 4, and my height, which is 3, which gives me 6 overall. So I add those two numbers together because I'm adding them together because they are attached. So 15 plus 6 gives me 21, and I have my units there as well, meters squared. Next lot, question 5. You are, instead of adding, you're actually subtracting. So think or have a look at it and see where you can make a larger shape, whether it be a rectangle, whether it be a square, whether it be a circle, really depends. But all of these, we're pretty much looking for rectangles, triangles, or some form of square. So look for those 3. So for this one, it's already been done for us. We have a little cut out here because I have those little lines. So I have my big one and I take away my smaller one. So I have my square and I minus my triangle from it. So again, just substitute it straight in. I'm going to do this one a little bit. I'm going to do this one a bit slow just so you can see. So I had my side, which was 10 squared. So that gives me 100. So it'll be 100 minus whatever I end up with for my triangle. So my triangle has a base of 3 and a height of 3. And in the next one, you'll see you're going to have to do this process yourself. So this gives me 4.5. So 100 minus 4.5. That will give me my answer, and that will be in centimeters squared. For this next one, same thing, but you are creating this cutoff because you just have this weird kind of line, and it says that this is 4 meters. Again, look for that big shape. And that big shape is what you are going to start off with, and then you're going to cut this little section out. This little section is actually a triangle, okay? So think about what you could cut out. So again, exact same process. I have a rectangle here. Sorry, I have a square here. 9 multiplied by 9. Again, plug it straight in. So 9 squared gives me 81. And then I am going to take away my little one here. If this is 4, this whole length is 9. This side here has to be 5. So I'm going to put that one in. I've got 5. Now I also know that this length here is 9 and this here is 8. So this little one right here must be 1. So let's put that one in there as well. And these were all in meters. So now I have my base and I have my height. Doesn't matter which way because it is at a lovely 90-degree angle. So I'm going to plug it straight in. I've now got half multiplied by 5 multiplied by 1. So half of 5 is 2.5. So I take away 2.5 from 81 and that will give me my answer. And again, units, meters squared. Next page. Again, we're looking for areas where we can create specific shapes that we know. So I have a square here, I have a square here, and I have a triangle here. Same process, square, square, and triangle. And you will notice as well that these lines are all the same. So you will have to calculate a few things. So I'll do this one with you as well. So first thing with my lovely squares here, I've only just realized after I've done all my working out and set it up, these two are actually the same. So I only have to calculate for one and then I'm going to multiply it by 2 because they're both the exact same. So my side length, as it does say on here on the diagram, is 2 meters. So I'm going to substitute that in. So I've got 2 squared, which equals 4. And again, this one is the exact same. So let's do the exact same process. 2 squared is 4. So now I've got 4 plus 4. Now I have to worry about my triangle. So my triangle here, I have this is 2 and this is 2. So I need to write in that this line here is actually 4 meters. I'm just going to redraw that just so it doesn't get too confusing. So this one here is 4 meters. And this one here is going to be, again, 2 plus another 2. So that one is also going to be 4 meters. So now I have my base and I have my height. Let's substitute it in. So half multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4, which gives me my answer of 8. So I add that together as well. So 8 plus 8 essentially, which gives me 16, and that is in meters squared. Next one, find the missing length first. So first thing I see, because it's all chopped up, I have one triangle and I have another triangle. So I have this height because it's over here, but I don't have this side. I do have this number and this number. So if I take the larger one and get the smaller one away from it, I will actually find that length of that particular length that I need to work with. So let's plug it in. I've got this first triangle here. This one's going to be my base. So my base, let's substitute it in. So we've got half multiplied by 4 multiplied by my height for this one, which is 2. So my base of 4 and my height of 2. So half times 4 times 2 gives me 4. And then my next one, half times base times height. So our height in this case is 1.5 and my base is 4. So let's plug it in, same as before. Half times my base, which was 4, times by 1.5. Whatever that answer is, we add it together and we get our final answer and we put in our meters squared. Last one we have before we move on to question 8. So again, we are calculating that missing length if we need. And in this one, what I've done here is I've broken it up into some shapes that I know, some familiar shapes. I have a rectangle, I have another rectangle, and I have a triangle. The only thing, I have these sides, beautiful, but I don't have this much for my triangle. So let's work on making sure that we have all the sides for each of these first. And again, if you are drawing these diagrams out, then you are able to actually section them off really nice and easily. Okay, so you are highly encouraged to do this type of thing to your work. So make sure you put in a diagram and make sure you follow instructions as well. For particular questions, they do actually say to include a diagram. We're not asking for it to scale, but we are asking you to get into the practice of actually annotating something and seeing how relationships work from that. Okay, so back to this. I have this length is 3.5 centimeters, which means this length is also 3.5. Getting lots of information already. So let's annotate. So I got 3.5 centimeters there. I found my base. Next one I have, looking at this one and this one are both 1. So this entire length was 3.5, which means this little one here has to be 1.5. So again, let's annotate that. So I'm just going to write a little 1.5 centimeters there. And the next thing that I can see is I have a long length this way, which is 6 centimeters. But I know that this is 1, 2, and then whatever the remainder is should equal to 6. So my remainder is actually 3. So I can now add in my height as well for my triangle here, which is 3 centimeters. And again, that's just from looking at the information and breaking it down. Okay, so I have my first rectangle, which is 3.5 multiplied by 1 centimeter. Okay, so 3.5 by 1, plug it in, gives me 3.5. Next one, I have now got my rectangle in the middle, which is 1.5 multiplied by 2. So again, let's put that one in. So 1.5 multiplied by 2, which gives me 3. And my last one is my triangle. So let's have a look at that now. I have my base number here, which is 3.5, and my height, which is 3. So let's substitute that in. So I've got half multiplied by my base, which was 3.5, multiplied by my height, which was 3. And whatever that number is, can't be bothered thinking about it now. Apologies, gents. You will then add all of those 3 numbers together because that's what the shape has required you to do. You add all of those together to get your answer there. Okay, last 2. So again, this is more about process. So a wall has 3 square holes cut into it to allow for windows, as shown. Find the remaining area of the wall. So the remaining area, I'm going to colour it in, is actually this entire section. So it's the rectangle, but I'm taking these out. Okay, so it's good to actually write things, give yourself an idea of what's actually happening with each of these. So I have a rectangle and I'm going to cut out 3 squares. So I have represented that exactly here. I have my rectangle and I'm cutting out, I'm removing or subtracting 3 of my squares. So let's substitute in. I have my rectangle. My rectangle has its sides, which are 6 and 2.4. So let's put that in. So 6 multiplied by 2.4. So this answer is our value here. Next one we have is we need to calculate our square. And we're going to do just 1 here, and then we'll multiply it by 3 in the next part. So I have 1.2 squared. So whatever that number is, I will then put it into here. Then, if I chuck that into the calculator, so whatever the number is for the rectangle, minus 3 lots in brackets, of your little square that will give you your answer here. So I'm just going to do it as a kind of, yep. So this is going to be where our answer is, and it will be in meters squared. Okay, for this next one, again, breaking things down. Here, we have a shape, but it's kind of how you approach it really depends. A couple of things we need to know for information. We've got our lino, so it's just kind of a flooring covering. We have a budget of $3,000. It costs $25 for a square meter of lino. So I'm just going to add that information to our actual diagram. So it's $25 for 1 square meter. And that's really important for later. So when I looked at this diagram, there's actually a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do it via the subtracting method or the adding method. So if you're doing the subtracting method, try and do a big shape and then see if you have any smaller shapes that you can cut out from. So for this one, I've given you a massive hint. I've done this large rectangle, and then I've taken away a square, and then I've taken away also a triangle. So that is the subtracting method. You may prefer, your brain might like, the adding method. So another way you can do, again, we're looking for familiar shapes. I have a rectangle here, another rectangle here, and a triangle here. So I add those all together and I can actually go from there. So to approach this question, you need to find the missing sides. So I need to know what this length is, I need to know what this length is, and I need to know what this length is. For the other side, same as well. I need to know what this length is, I need to know what, and what. So I need to know those two lengths, and then that's all. We can go from there. So after we found our missing sides, we then calculate our total area, depends which one you are doing. We then multiply our area by 25, because remember, per square meter, it was $25 for the lino that is being installed. We then compare that amount to our $3,000 budget. So check your complete answer, compare it to your budget, and then write a concluding statement. So yes, because we have to answer the question, is there enough money in the budget to cover the cost? Your answer yes or no, and give a reason based on the amount that you had in total. Good luck.